When you have medical equipment and medical devices, there is a good possibility you might have some medical liquids or really any liquids. And you're thinking, I want to travel, I want to see the world. So exciting. And you're just like, I don't want to go in a rowboat. I want to go on an airplane. So exciting. And you're thinking, oh no, I have liquids. Either this, maybe TPN, maybe just something like liquid. And you're thinking, how am I going to get through airport security with my liquids? Don't worry, I have some solutions for you, and they're going to be real solutions. Why? Because I like to travel. Yes, I know, surprise, I love to travel. I love traveling so much, I have decided to start a new YouTube channel. It is called Traveling with Event. On that channel, I'm going to be sharing some of my travel adventures as I explore different parts of the world. Right now, I have started uploading my videos from a cruise I did to South and Central America. Let me just tell you, that was an amazing cruise. So please go over to Traveling with Event for all that fun and excitement. I'm going to try to be uploading a new video every week. There will be some pauses and gaps between some of my travel adventures because, as you know, there are pauses and gaps between travel adventures. I am not a world traveler all the time because look, I am here not traveling. But nonetheless, I'm going to share with you traveling advice for traveling with medical liquids or really even just any liquids. First of all, if you have medical liquids, yes, you are allowed to travel with them. One thing I'm going to tell you is if you're traveling with medical liquids, let's just say you have this, it is sterile water. You need sterile water for, let's say, your heated humidifier, any sort of reason you need sterile water. Maybe you have a wound you have to flush out with sterile water. I'm going to tell you some tips. First of all, when you go through airport security, say, I have medical liquids. Do I need to take my medical liquids out and put them separately in the bin? I'm going to tell you, every single airport I've ever gone to is like, yeah, that would be helpful. Please do. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your medical liquids out and put it separately. It can be with your luggage in that tray, but please do not keep it inside a bag. Do not keep it inside your shirt. Just keep it out so they can look at it and go, medical liquids. The other thing I'm going to tell you is if you're bringing liquids with you, please bring a full bottle. You might think, I'm only going to use a little bit. I'm just going to bring a little bit. No, just bring a full bottle because you never know when traveling, you might need the full bottle. Also, I think it's less suspicious if you bring a full bottle. I don't know, it's just my personal advice. Bring a full bottle because it's like, I got a full bottle instead of I brought this big bottle and there's only a little bit of liquid. Kind of weird. So that's the first thing. If you have medical liquids, please take them out and let them know you have medical liquids. Also, some facilities, some airports will take your medical liquids, put them into a little machine and scan them to make sure they're okay. Others don't. It really depends on the airport, what technology they have. Another recommendation I'm going to tell you is because you're going to be in the air, remember air pressure changes. So this means containers are going to expand when you're up in the air and then start compressing when you come back down. For this reason, liquid can come out of your bottle. So I always put my water actually inside a bottle, or I'm going to put my bottle inside a bag. Word choice, important. So I do this and I always put 2 bags. And actually when I travel, I always keep it in this bag. And you might think, well, what's the big deal? Just keep it out. No, I actually keep it in this because TSA, I don't want to say anything evil, but they often wear gloves, and those gloves are used from person to 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 person. You get the idea. Not very clean gloves. And with heavy medical equipment, you don't want pathogens. You don't want anything on their gloves getting onto your medical equipment. So I always put my distilled water into a plastic bag. And actually I double plastic bag this because I'm concerned about the air pressure and that this might leak water. So feel free to leave it inside the bag and use clear plastic because obviously you can go like, okay, yeah, we can see what it is. And they can scan it inside the plastic. And most of the time they will leave it in here and they won't open it up to go into that. So I highly recommend putting it inside some sort of clear plastic zip top and then just keeping it closed. keeping it closed like this and going through security like this. If you have medical liquids that can't be detached from you, ooh, I'm going to tell you, it is difficult, very difficult. So on my cruise that I'm currently uploading, I was running my TPN. TPN is this IV nutrition. It normally just comes in this bag. You're going to take this off. You're going to spike the solution, and I connect it to an IV line in my arm. This runs, it provides nutrition, and pretty much anytime I leave my home, I almost always have this running because it helps prevent my blood sugar from dropping and it keeps me hydrated. It's really, really a lifesaver. But I'm going to tell you, going through airport security with this connected to yourself, oh, that can be a huge issue. Why? Because it's connected. They can't take this. They can't put it through the scanner. So I'm going to tell you, if you can, don't have your liquids attached to you. Have them unspiked for example, for this, try to time your IV nutrition that you are not running it during airport security. Just get to the airport, get through security. Once you're on the other side of airport security, you can spike it, run it, and nobody cares. But before you get through airport security, they are not going to love you. They are not going to love you if you have this attached to yourself. I did this one time. One time I had this attached to me and they were not excited. They're like, oh, you have medical liquids attached to you. You get additional screening. And not only did I get additional screening, I got additional screening. Let's just say, let's put this kindly. If it was not TSA, I would have been filing a sexual assault case because they were very thorough in checking all crevices. And if you don't like that intimate contact, I would suggest not running medical liquids when you're going through TSA. If you have a feeding tube, just disconnect the feeding tube, put it through so it's not connected to you. Also, if you're going through airport security, if you're in a wheelchair, you're going to get the pat down. I'm going to tell you, if you have a feeding tube, tracheostomy tube, they should be able to see that. They should. Or you have an IV line, let them know about that because they're going to be like, oh, there's a lot. What is this? What is? And if you tell them ahead of time, and even maybe just pull up your sleeve and say, "Hey, look, IV line," they are much more accommodating, and it's not like we gotta swab that and do everything. So just make sure you tell them about any medical equipment you have. I'm going to also tell you this, even though it has nothing to do with liquids. If you have a ventilator, do not disconnect from your ventilator because if you're going through the pat down, which they will usually make you do, even if you go through the regular body scanner, if you have a tracheostomy tube, they're going to usually make you have a pat down. You cannot attach back to your ventilator once you've disconnected. They're like, oh no, you can't connect back up to that. No. You have to stay disconnected. And you're like, I can't breathe. They're like, no, we got to do the full pat down first. Full pat down. We can get you oxygen later, but not right now. Pat down, because pat down station, pat down. So if you have a ventilator, stay connected to it because they could potentially put you to the side and wait 15-20 minutes to do a pat down. If you can't breathe that long on your own, they don't like that very much. So stay connected to your ventilator. Little tip I've learned. One thing I also want to add about traveling with TPN or with a feeding tube or anything, whatever liquids you have, keep these in a plastic bag. For my TPN, they come in this plastic bag already. So just like your water or anything, keep this in the plastic bag and go through security. If you're not hooked up to anything, keep this in the plastic bag. And you say, why? Again, because they have not so clean gloves, and this, especially TPN or medication or anything, you want to keep that as clean as possible. So if you keep it in this zip up plastic bag, they can do all the screening with the plastic bag around this. And then whenever you decide to hook this up, you can take this out. And now your bag has not been contaminated. It has not been laying on the conveyor belt, hasn't been in the bins, hasn't been handled by the TSA or anybody. So to me, it just gives me peace of mind if this stays in the plastic bag. But if you are connected, you're going to have to take it out because I don't think there's any way. Well, maybe you can keep this over it, but there's really no reason if you are connected to this, there's really no reason, because it's not like they're going to be disconnecting you. Once you're hooked up to your TPN or your feeding tube, you don't really have to worry too much. This bag can get exposed to stuff and you're not too worried because, again, you're already using it and it's already in a sealed circuit with your arm or your feeding tube or whatever. So that's just my tip. Keep this wrapped up in plastic unless you're using it. Okay, another tip. If you have liquids and you want absolutely no trouble with TSA, or you just have medical equipment and you want no trouble with TSA, please look into TSA PreCheck. TSA PreCheck is a special service. You're going to go online and apply for this service. The service costs anywhere from about $77 to about $85. There's different companies you can apply through. This is actually all through the United States government, but they have third-party agencies that you apply through, and depending what agency you use, depends how much you're going to pay for this service. TSA PreCheck allows you to go into a separate line once you get into the airport security area at the airport. Depending on the airport, they either have the metal detectors or they still have the full body scanners. A lot of times, if you're TSA PreCheck, they allow you just to go right through the metal detector. If you have medical equipment and can go through that, if it's not metal, you can just go through the metal detector. If you need a pat down, I shouldn't probably tell you this, but every time I've gone through TSA with TSA PreCheck, I've actually not gotten a pat down when I've gone through with a wheelchair. They just push me through and they just swab my hands, run that through, and they're like, you're good. No pat down, no touching me, no touching my medical equipment. Oh, wow. I cannot tell you how much I love TSA PreCheck. And you think, why are they so lenient? So TSA PreCheck, one of the requirements is they have to do a background check. So they do a full background check. And if that background check comes back that it's okay, and then after the application process, they do a short interview with you and they're like, all right, good job. You are cleared to get TSA PreCheck. With TSA PreCheck, they basically consider you not a threat to security, and they are much more lenient with everything. During my TSA PreCheck interview, I'm going to tell you something the agent told me. She goes, wonderful, you have been cleared for your TSA PreCheck. I'm so happy for you, because now when you go through TSA, you're not going to be harassed about all your medical equipment. I was like, wait, you purposely harass people if they have medical equipment? And she's like, well, you can never be too careful. I was a little horrified. I was, because I had been highly harassed about all my medical equipment. I have my tracheostomy tube, I have my ventilator, and then I also have my TPN pumps, which I usually do not have my TPN running because, remember, I don't like full body cavity searches. So I got the TSA PreCheck, and my life has been grand. I mean, they just are like, oh, your TSA PreCheck, okay, fine, whatever. And you're just like, I got some liquids. They're like, yeah, that's fine, whatever. They don't care. And I'm going to tell you something. The last time I traveled, I actually, because of our travel schedule, I had to have my TPN connected. And I was like, oh no, this is going to be, I'm just going to have to fortify myself and just get ready for that thorough pat down. So I had my TPN running and I had it in my bag, and I was just like, oh, this is connected to me. It can't go through the scanner. The woman was like, oh, no problem. You're pre-TSA? And I was like, yep, TSA PreCheck, and that's me. And she's like, oh, okay, we're just going to wheel you over here. Let's just swab the outside of that backpack that you have. Swab my hands. Didn't even look inside the backpack. Didn't even look at my liquids. She puts the little thing through the scanner and she goes, you're good to go. And I was like, what? I can keep this attached to me and you don't care? I love you, pre-TSA. It's so exciting. So I'm going to tell you, if you travel and you're like, I don't travel that much. If you travel at all on an airplane, look into getting TSA PreCheck. It will make your life so much better. So much better. I used to dread getting on an airplane simply because I did not want to go through TSA, but now it's just a joy and pleasure. Now, if you're considering getting TSA PreCheck, you might think, oh wow, $77 up to $85 just to avoid pat downs and to be able to travel with my liquids attached to me. I mean, come on, that's pretty crazy. Well, one thing to note about TSA PreCheck is it lasts 5 years. Yes, 5 years. So when you're thinking about the cost, really divide that up into 5 years. So if you travel a couple times a year, it's really not that much extra. In my mind, I'm just thinking, I don't even care how much it costs. To not be personally violated, I would gladly pay $77 to not be violated, and also to have my liquids to be able to be run and to not have like everything examined in my ventilator and just having their hands all over my medical equipment. I would prefer that safety and peace of mind. So to me, it is completely worth it. Another thing with TSA PreCheck is you can get TSA PreCheck if you do a different program. There's Global Entry. So if you travel internationally, when you come back into the United States, you can use a program called Global Entry. This supposedly gets you through immigration faster. And I say supposedly because I did go into Global Entry and I was like, okay, Global Entry will make my life so much easier. Let's skip those long lines to get back into the United States. Well, nah, not the time I went. It was really, really a long line. All lines were really long and all lines were taking forever. So I don't know. I mean, I got Global Entry because you can get Global Entry, you can get Sentry, you can get Nexus. There's a couple different programs you can get for international travel, or you can get TSA PreCheck a lot of times through some travel credit cards. I'm not here to promote travel credit cards, but I'm going to say if you're looking to get TSA PreCheck or Global Entry or Nexus or Sentry or any of those programs, and you want them either free or at a very reduced rate, Global Entry and TSA PreCheck are free with the United Explorer card. It's a credit card through United Airlines. You have 1 free year when you first enroll, and you also get the pre-TSA or the TSA PreCheck. You can get that application free, or you can opt to get the Global Entry free. That's what I did. I avoided the fees of applying for these programs, and I just went for Global Entry, which gave me the fast pass through immigration, and it also gave me the TSA PreCheck, and I got that all for free through the United Explorer card. I just paid with the United Explorer card. United was like, oh, thanks for paying with our card. We took off that charge for you. So free. I love free. If you like free, free is good. And that's how I afford to travel, is doing things that are free. So please don't let the price dissuade you. There are ways to get it free. If you don't like using credit cards or doing that, just think the TSA PreCheck lasts 5 years. If you do Global Entry, it lasts 4 years. So you can kind of mentally space that out over those years, and it's not that much. So far, the Global Entry has not expedited my entry into the United States, but the TSA PreCheck has been worth its weight in gold. Even if you paid nothing like I did, it is still worth its weight in imaginary gold. Another thing I'm going to tell you, if you're going through with liquids, I forgot to say this before, try not to use big giant containers. You know, if you have this little guy versus this little guy, yeah. I try not to go through with big giant. This is an entire gallon. A little bit more suspicious. I mean, I suppose you can go through with a giant gallon, but I always tell people just go through with a smaller container. And you're like, well, if I need more water than this, we'll bring 2 smaller containers like this. This is, I believe, it's 1 liter. So bring 2 liters, 2 1-liter bottles. Don't bring giant container. This is 3.78 liters. So I'd even say just bring 4 of these versus 1 of these, because it's just less awkward. I don't know. They seem to be okay with smaller containers, bigger containers. A little bit more suspicious, but hey, if you get that TSA PreCheck, maybe they don't even care anymore, because like seriously, they didn't care about this anymore. I was like, hallelujah, hallelujah. Another thing I'm going to tell you. So if you have POTS or if you have any medical condition and you need water, yes, you're like, oh, I need water. I can't travel without water. And I don't want to pay $8.50 for a bottle of water. So I'm going to tell you a secret. So TSA does allow 1 bottle of water just for medical purposes. And you're like, well, what about the distilled? So distilled water is kind of its own little thing because it's a specific type of water. Distilled water, sterile water, kind of specific. But if you go through just with a regular bottle of water, what you do is you say, sir, ma'am, I have a bottle of water. It's for medical purposes. I just want to let you know that. And usually they just make you take it out, put it in the bin. Sometimes they scan it, sometimes they don't. And they let you go through with just a regular bottle of water. So hooray, you now have a bottle of water to drink your pills, do whatever you want. I know some people just say take an empty bottle of water and fill it up with tap water. You can do that too, but let's face it, airport tap water, not always the most delicious thing or the most sanitary. So you are free to bring a bottle of water. Another tip. So this is just a regular bottle of water, but you can take a regular bottle of water, put it into the freezer, completely freeze the bottle. Once it is in a solid state, it's hard ice and no longer liquid. Guess what? You can take them through security. No problem. No questions asked. That's right. Frozen bottles of water can go through security. Absolutely fine. They don't care. You can bring 3, 4, 5 of these. I think the most I've ever traveled was with 1 bottle of regular water and 3 frozen bottles because I don't want to travel with a lot of extra. And my theory is you can always get water on the plane. Usually on the planes they have bottled water, not necessarily your own bottle, but you just get a cup of the bottled water, and that's usually good enough for me. So those are some tips about flying with medical liquids. Yes, it is possible it can be sometimes intrusive if you're hooked up to your IV nutrition, IV medication, or just a feeding tube hooked up with the feeding tube running. Could be a little intrusive, but if you're going to be traveling and you need that stuff to be running when you're going through TSA, look into TSA PreCheck. Oh, I cannot tell you what a fabulous service TSA PreCheck is. It will make your life so much easier, and they will no longer harass you about your medical equipment. They're just like, oh, you're fine. You're looking good today. I hope you have a great time traveling. So those are some tips and tricks about traveling with liquids, medical equipment, and I hope if you go on a trip, let me know. I love hearing about people's travels, where they go, how they traveled by boat, by plane, by taxi cab. It's always so much fun to find out where you went and your travel adventures. And so please write me an email, let me know in the comments below, or if you have any other tips or tricks that you know of about traveling either with medical equipment, with liquids, please leave them in the comments. I cannot tell you how valuable my comment section is to my videos. So please leave them in the comments so other people can read them, can learn from them, and even I learned so much from your comments. So please leave me a comment. And remember, check out Traveling with Event, because I'm sure you're going to enjoy those videos, because it was such a joy and so much excitement to make those videos. So thank you so much for joining me. Please remember to like and subscribe down below. Please also remember to comment and share. It really helps my YouTube channel. I hope you have a great day, a wonderful week, and to everybody traveling, happy travels. Bye-bye.